States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Irving. Roll call on members. Here. Enders here. Mr. Moore. And Mr. Vinslett, absent. Student member, absent. I get a motion to approve the agenda.
Make motion that we take the roll call.
Here is, second, Moore. All those in favor?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Reports and communications. Anything from the student board member?
No, nothing.
Okay. RTA report. Mr. Flowman.
Hey, I didn't have enough time to get ready. I really don't have any report tonight, other than to, again, welcome Mr. Vinslett back to the board, which I said at a previous meeting, and also to welcome Mr. Moore to the board. Look forward to working with all of the board members, as I always try to do. I don't have any particular report regarding any agenda item tonight, but I do encourage the board, if there is an agenda item which you'd like to input it myself on behalf of RTA, please ask and I'll provide that info. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Flowman. CSC report. Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. First, we would like to introduce our CSCA board member. President is Gary Jones, Vice President Mark Nauderman, Chief Job Steward Jose Pepe Cortez, Secretary Suzanne King Sanchez, Reporter Pepe Galindo, and Treasurer Lori Lytle. Our executive board is excited to get started in working with and for our members for the betterment of the entire district. Our CSEA employees are excited and thankful for the district approval of the Classified School Employee Summer Assistance Program. This will be a great way for them to be able to earn more money this year. It truly shows the district is dedicated to and proud of our classified employees. We will be reaching out to you and informing our members of the benefits to ensure we can get a good amount of our eligible employees involved in the program. We look forward to working with Mrs. Gaines and the board on all CSEA matters. As it stands, we have employees working in rotating shifts or, if able, working from home to prevent COVID exposure among staff and their families. We are currently in discussion to see what can be done to assist some of our food service employees who have been working almost nonstop since the beginning of this pandemic with little to no relief. They have been beneficial to our community, ensuring that our students and our neighbors are being fed. Many of our community members are being impacted by the pandemic, losing their jobs, struggling to get food, and our food service employees have been a blessing, working hard every day to meet the needs of our town. We are proud of them and hope that they can be shown in some way how important they have been for this past year. Thank you, the CSEA Executive Board. Next up, CBO report, Mr. Irving.
Hey there. So, the meeting that I wish would have happened sooner is tomorrow. County for CBS, we go over the governor's proposed budget. So next week, or the third, I'll have more details on that as they can break it down a little bit better on the micro level instead of hearing a number of $2 billion and how does that really affect the district specifically. So I'll have more info on that next week, but in anticipation of upcoming deferrals that are part of the state's budget for this year, looking at our general fund cash, as of today, we have about $5 million in cash with about $4 million in expenditure through December. So we may make it for February cash wise. We'll see how bad the deferrals are and all of that. I think that's about it right now.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Irving. Next up is Associate Superintendent Mrs. Hargis.
Good evening, happy New Year, and welcome back. We are getting started with our calendar committee. Our first meeting is going to be next Wednesday. Mr. Bender and Mr. Vinslett are board members that will be part of that, and CSBA and our team will also have members that will serve on that committee. As soon as I get the names for the associations, I will send out a Zoom. So we will meet via Zoom next Wednesday at 2:30. Also, on Monday, we'll be having our district advisory meeting. And that'll also be.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Skusd. Next up, Superintendent Report, Mrs. Gaines.
Thank you, President Tanksley. And I too would like to welcome everyone to the meeting this evening. And I'd like to let everybody know that Southern Kern School District will be opening in the near future our own COVID-19 testing center. And it is going to be located in the old college offices on the campus of Rosamond High School. We have provided additional hours to 2 of our employees who will man this center. It'll be open for all employees from 8 to 4 initially. I did receive the tests today and some of the boxes to send the tests back to a new laboratory that Kern County will be working with as we move forward. Our goal is to initially test our employees on a regular basis, especially if we are able to resume to some form of in-person / distance learning in perhaps fourth quarter, or depending on the governor's decision when we're able to. So we're looking forward to opening this testing center, which will eventually, we will be able to also test our students in there. So employees will be able to get tested during their work hours instead of having to take time off and test. They'll be able to come anytime during 8 to 4. And I also wanted to say that in your agendas this evening, you received safety plans from the sites and also one from the district. These are not finals. We are very, very much open for suggestions from all of you. If you'd like to highlight or if you want something added in there, please let me know. And I will get the document back to the site that owns the document, or if it's the district one. And we still have some time, so we can bring these back at a later date when we feel that they are refined and they meet your standard. So please share with me. I know they're a little thick. I've looked at them. They are a little thick this year, and there's some of it you're going to see some redundancy because that's just the way it should be. We had a template that we had to follow. So I welcome all feedback on our safety plans. I do believe that they are, in looking at this year's versus last year, the sites have done a much better job. Every year they seem to get better on these safety plans. So, but feel free to provide us any feedback that you find if you go over those. And I think that's it for me today.
One question. Can you explain a little bit more about the COVID testing facility we'll be doing next door, I believe it is, you said?
It'll be in the old college centers. We felt that was a great place to put it because there is a gate right there that the employees could walk in there, we're going to have one door in and another door out. It's the test that we'll be giving is the actual employee will be the one to test themselves. We will just be the ones to enter their name into the database and also package the test and send it off to the lab. We can get the results in 24 to 48 hours. The employee's insurance will be used, and if for some reason the insurance does not cover the cost of the test, we were told that the state would pick up any balance.
Is this something that we have to do?
We don't have to do it, but so far, there's 37 districts out of 47 who are doing it for Kern. It's highly recommended, Mr. Bender, that we have our own testing. In saying that, can I force an employee to test? No, I cannot. But it's an element of convenience for the employees and eventually, hopefully, for our students. Would I like to have a vaccine station instead? I would love that. But then for us to do that, we'd have to be connected to a medical facility because even though we have 4 nurses, if there was, someone was allergic to a shot, we would not necessarily know how to deal with that. So
is it going to be a outside source running it? I mean, all that stuff, I'm sure has to be confidential, kept private. Do we want the school district to take on a liability like that?
the HIPAA is built into it. The two ladies that will be working in there, they only send off the tests. They do not get test results.
And are they going to be adequately protected to do that?
You mean
I've got a daughter-in-law that does it, and she's pretty protected doing it. I know they do it at Albertsons or over at Rite Aid. They hand them the test kit, they do it, they put everything in back in the bag, seal it, and hand it back to them.
We don't hand anything back to them. We are going to be the ones, probably Mr. Irving's office, we will be the one, or to send it off every so often, to send them off to the lab. Or they may set us up like a drop box where we can just put them in there and the lab will pick them up. The name of the lab is Valencia, but it's not Valencia. It's like Valencia down here. It's actually a Valencia lab in the Bakersfield area. So, yeah,
I'm just worried about if I come in and I don't know that I have COVID, and I do have it, and I walk into a school employee, even though we have our mask on.
Masks and gowns and gloves and everything else.
We want to make sure that school employee is comfortable, protected, and it should be, to me, it should be a medical person. It should be a nurse. It should be somebody that's in the medical field doing that. I'm just afraid if we take our
Actually, Mr. Bender,
Brianna and go in there and say,
they have recommended that we do not use our nurses for this because they're not going to be doing the test. They're simply going to be entering the employee's name into the system. They're going to hand the employee the test. The employee would probably put it back into a bag and it goes off for testing. The 2 ladies that are, they're actually being trained now. They're having some training. Quinn is also going to be working with them on the different solution to clean the area after every employee comes in. So it's pretty, I don't think it's real difficult.
I just want to make sure we give it a lot of thought on the safety side of it. And I know the way the Rite Aid does it seems pretty safe because they actually hand them the kit and that's it with it. They drop it back off in a box and they're protected by a shield. You know, they're just not having somebody come in like me, Mario, and I hand them the kit and I say, what's your name and your social security, and I write it down and he's positive. And, you know, I just want to be
No. The results would not come back to the 2 gals that are giving out the tests.
That's all. Thank you.
And my only question is, the employees that we've given extra hour to do this are employees from the past who deemed it too dangerous to come to work,
Are they?
or they're not?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm just interested in what makes people tick a lot of times, and extra hours often makes people fearless. So I'm just asking.
No, they're not.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Gaines. Board member communications, Mr. Moore.
Last week, I think it was last week, on the first day back to school for the second semester, I decided I was going to go to all the school sites just to introduce myself. I have to say we have some pretty amazing administrators at every one of our school sites. They're all nice, outgoing, seem to get things done. And to you three that were on the board when COVID hit, good job on the plans that you put in place, Ms. Gaines, you too, about how we're gonna, if we get kids back, when we get kids back, how we're gonna keep them distance, how we're gonna social, how they can see the signs on every door they walk into, every building, which way they need to walk. It's gonna be a training process, not a discipline process, so. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Mr. Bender?
I'd like to thank everybody that's out there watching. How many we have today?
18.
18. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. It's important to stay informed. That way we know, that the public knows that we're trying our best to keep everybody safe. And that's what we want to do. If we ever get the chance to open up, we want to make sure we open safe for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Bender. Mr. Gutierrez?
Thank you, everybody, for watching. And again, congratulate Mr. Moore and Mr. Estella for getting on the board. And we were going on to continue our business that we need to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And you'll get my canned statement that you'll get every meeting until COVID's over. Stay safe, wear your mask, avoid large groups, and come back to us. Next, comments from the public or email only. Members of the public may address board at any time within jurisdiction of the board by submitting presentation requests to the secretary. Members of the public are strongly urged not to mention personnel by name and are reminded that they do not have immunity from legal action if personnel are named. The board may limit each speaker to 3 minutes with a total of 20 minutes per time. Mr. Moore, I believe you have a communication.
Okay, this is from a concerned parent. Can I say your name? Nathan Ash. My name is Nathan Ash, and I am a concerned parent of 2 young boys who attend West Park Elementary. Attend is a loose phrase, as they really just stare at a computer screen for 5 to 8 hours a day. If they did not have great teachers on the other side, I'm not sure it would be bearable. I know this has been a trying time for everybody, and I believe it will continue to get worse as kids stay away from school. I understand that the state imposes certain restrictions on schools, but I don't feel like you guys are fighting hard enough. We always say to follow the science, but what does the science say? The science says that keeping kids out of school is doing immeasurable harm to students, some of the lowest risk age groups for the coronavirus. Even Dr. Anthony Fauci recently came out and said, close the bars and open the schools. He is the nation's infectious disease expert, as you know. Even as the virus continues to rage across Europe, again, they are keeping the schools open. In Germany, they have closed restaurants, bars, theaters, gyms, tattoo parlors, and yet schools remain open. France, the United Kingdom, and Italy are all doing the same. As the evidence is overwhelming that children do not spread the virus, nor do they really get the virus like adults do. Our children are suffering. Half of my son's class doesn't even participate in the Zoom meetings. They're constantly turning in work late. We are falling behind so badly academically, with no way to make up all of the lost time. So why are we keeping the kids home? Can anybody give us a reasonable answer why we didn't open up in October? Figure it out. Churches are now open because they fought the battle. Restaurants are now opening, at least outdoors, because they are fighting the battle. Please show some respect to the students who want to actually get an education. All other industries in the world have figured out how to make it work, yet when it comes to our kids, our future, we lay down and wave the white flag. I know you are doing the best you can, but we need to try harder. 2 days a week at least. Can we at least try to understand the severe hardship this is causing households with 2 working parents, or are we just going to ignore it as well? Thank you for your time and have a happy holiday. Nathan.
All right, thank you for that communication. Next up is consent items A through H for action. I want to point out on item D, it was stated approve IRS mileage rate increase from 57 cents a gallon, 1.5 cents to 50 cents. Change that to decrease. Change that to decrease. Any questions on any of the consent items, Mr. Bender?
No.
No? Mr. Moore, you doing all right? No explanations? All right, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept A through H.
All right, motion by Gutierrez, second. Bender, all those in favor?
Aye.
4, and 1 absent. General category, update, item A, update classified school employee summer assistance program, Mr. Irving, informational.
Hey there, so, last board meeting, I did a PowerPoint on the, summer assistance program for classified employees to give, myself and you guys a, overview of what the program is, what the impact of the district would be, and all of that. Right, but before January 1st, we sent out notification to CSEA that district is going to participate for the 21-22 school year. To date, there have been 9 employees have submitted enrollment forms. So the enrollment period ends March 1st, so they still have plenty of time. But as they come in, I've been putting them into a spreadsheet so that I can keep track of who and how much they want to elect to have deducted on behalf of the program.
You said the closeout was March, 1 March, or 30 March?
1 March.
1 March.
We already have none signed up.
Yeah.
Any questions for Mr. Irving? All right, item B, approved participation in the Great Kindness Challenge Week, January 25th to the 29th of 2021. Mrs. Gaines for action.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited to announce that all of our schools will begin on Monday participating in the Great Kindness Challenge. This is not the first year we did this. We did this as well last year. Our goal here is to really create a culture of kindness and to build awareness on the impact of bullying with our students and also kindness with our staff members as well. I have been receiving emails from different administrators at the sites outlining for me what they're doing every day. Many of them have come up with a plan for every single day next week to address this issue of kindness. So it's a great challenge, but it's one that we could really reap benefits for our students.
Okay, so with an action item,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I make a motion that we participate in the Great Kindness Challenge.
okay, motion by Gutierrez, second. By Tanksley. All those in favor?
Aye.
1 absent. Item C, approve extension of memorandum of understanding for the 2021 school year road plan between RTA and Southern Kern Unified School District for action, Mrs. Gaines.
Yes, this is just thank you to RTA. They have agreed to extend our MOU with regard to COVID until June 30th. We do have maybe a couple little issues that we want to address when we reconvene with students on campus that will be brought to you at a later date. But for now, our MOU is being extended to June 30th.
For item C, do we have any questions for Mrs. Gaines? No, sir. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Moore? Second, Mr. Bender. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 1 absent. Curriculum and instruction, item A, knowledge quarter report for October, November, December 2020 on the Williams Uniform complaints under Ed Code 35186. This is informational and Mrs. Hargis wants us to acknowledge. Floor is yours, Mrs. Hargis.
We do. We actually had 2 Williams complaints. So the first complaint, well, is, so the first complaint was hold a 30-day credential, so they can be in a classroom for a 30 days. We were given information from the county in the past that said, well, because we have such a difficult time finding substitute teachers, that we could extend that period, as we needed to.
Until we got a complaint. So we do have our complaint. The complaint was regarding a person that we had put in as a substitute at the beginning of the school year. We were not, because of COVID, we were not really sure how many students we were actually going to have. So we did not fill a first grade position. So we put a substitute teacher in there in early September. We held interviews and we found a fully credentialed teacher, a fully credentialed person with a California credential, but unfortunately when she interviewed, she was actually in a different state. So because of COVID, she got a little waylaid, so our sub ended up being in that classroom for 41 days versus the 30 days. So that was one of the complaints. The second complaint was regarding our process with our PIPs and our STIPs. So what we are supposed to do is we non-reelect them because they do not have a California credential. They're working on a permit. So at the end of the school year, we are obligated to go out and interview and look for credentialed teachers. If we can actually say that yes, we have gone out, we have interviewed, we didn't find anybody, then we can hire back our PIPs and our STIPs, but we cannot hire them back prior to July 1st. It was found that we let teachers know this year, some PIPs and STIPs, that they had a position within the district on May 15th. So we will definitely be correcting that and following the process of kind of a catch-22 in a way, because we do have some PIPs and STIPs. We have a lot of them that come through. Many of them are great. They go on, they end up getting their internship, and they end up getting a preliminary credential, and many of them stay in the district. So, you kind of hate to lose those people, and some of the administrators, they really want to keep them, but it's, just reminding everybody every year that, hey, you know what, we have an obligation to say, we went out and we interviewed and we looked for people, and so that's just, we're really working on following that.
Was this found on the county reconciliation or?
No, so when the complaint was filed, the complaint was filed, I spoke with the person that filed the complaint, and then I went and investigated the complaint, and those were my findings.
Are there any questions on the
Quarterly report for Williams?
No.
Hold on, I think we got a question from the floor. Mr. Quellman?
Is it appropriate for me to ask a question during this moment?
We would allow it.
Thank you. So if these teachers were given commitment in May to be retired, there therefore would not be a break in service, and their seniority date would be set back to their original hire date. Is that considered? Because that's going to be a problem.
I honestly do not know, but we'll look into that.
We definitely need to look at that, because it's been an issue in years past. If we give a commitment to somebody to be retired, there's no break in service when there should be. Because we need to rehire them after July 1. If there's no break in service, they retain their original seniority date, which puts them in an advantageous position over other credentialed teachers. So Mrs. Gaines, Mrs. Hargis, we're going to have to look into that. We need to know which teachers were involved.
When they get the break, if they're given a break, does that not count towards tenure?
No, if there's a break in service, then they're well, tenure. Tenure is a different issue.
Okay.
They get 1 year of credit towards tenure while they are on a provisional credential, if, STIP, or intern. No matter how many years they work under that provisional credential. I work 3 years under a provisional credential, I get 1 year of credit towards tenure.
Okay.
Then 1 more year that I work under a preliminary or clear credential is my 2nd year towards tenure. But that's different than seniority, which is hugely important in the situation of reduction in staff.
Okay.
So it's an important issue. I just really need to know which teachers were involved, and we need to have that cleared up with HR as we move forward with the seniority list.
Okay, we definitely will look into that.
Thank you.
All right, any more questions on item A? We get a motion for acknowledgement?
I will make a motion that, we accept the report as written.
All right, Mr. Gutierrez, second. Mr. Bender, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
4 and 1 absent. Item B, first content review and reading only of the 2021 Comprehensive School Safety Plans. This is informational, Mr. Irving.
Okay, so, just as a refresher and just information on why we're doing this, for, Ed Code, we're, supposed to, adopt and then review by March 1st of every year a comprehensive school plan. So, in accordance to that, why we're having a first look now for approval later, but so that we can stay in compliance with Ed Code in that regard. And then, as far as information, it's for the reports I have total nearly 400 pages. And I wasn't quite sure how to condense that into a PowerPoint that would not take us till tomorrow morning. So, I have things open on my computer. Does anybody have any notes or anything that or immediately popped out to them as a red flag or something to change or anything like that?
I think we're all chewing through them.
Okay.
I do want to thank you for giving us a first and second, and possibly a third content review.
Yeah,
Typically, they're used to getting a night of review.
Yeah.
We do thank you this year for getting those in advance. That's a pleasant, refreshing change to procedure. So I think we'll continue reviewing those. Mr. Vincelette, if you're listening, continue to review those as well. And if we have any questions, we'll get those to the superintendent and be ready for the next review.
Yeah, and then as far as formatting, like Barbara said earlier, this is the first pass through, that we'll get everything to look uniform and all of that, so it's not disparate reports that, are, together, but not really when you look at them to be like, okay, put it together, style guide on that kind of stuff.
Are we doing, since we're not in session, are we doing tabletops, like exercises for certain things with administrators that are there? Just, I know we did have the Great American Shakeout and stuff like that, but are we doing other things? Just so they're actually rolling, or I don't know if it's a big deal, but is there any requirements for us to do those things, law binding, and we're not doing them?
No, I mean, we don't have too many people on campus.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned. I mean, if there's requirements that we got to do this tabletop, and I just didn't know if that was the case or if we were doing anything like that. Just to be.
We do have the grade shakeout. Mrs. Hargis has the grade shakeout in all of her calendars for next year. And we do hope to be able to participate with students and full staff.
That changed the way we do certain things today. Okay, thank you, Mr. Irving, for that, and like I said, we'll continue to review and get either way through those. Item C, approve revised grievance procedures for Title IX. This is for action. Mrs. Hargis, floor is yours.
Earlier this fall, we talked about Title IX having some new policies and procedures that were put in place. And So we train numerous staff members, administrators on how to proceed with the any Title IX complaints. In the past, for Title IX, we used our uniform complaint procedures, but through the training that we took, they suggested that we develop a specific Title IX complaint form and procedures to go with it. So that is where you go.
Do we have any questions on the grievance procedures for Title IX? Nope. Mr. Moore, you good? Yep. All right, can I get a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the grievance procedure for Title IX.
All right, Mr. Gutierrez, second. Moore? All those in favor? 4 and 1 absent. Item D is now to approve the revised complaint form for Title IX, once again for action.
So the complaint form goes along with the grievance procedures, and so you'll be using this complaint form rather than our uniform complaint form for any Title IX complaints that we may have.
Okay, we got any issues or questions on the complaint form for Title IX? No. I'll get a motion. Bender, second. Yeah. Moore? All those in favor? Aye. 1 absent. Item 9, business and operations. A, approve E-rate contract award to Spectrum as a service provider for internet and wide area network. This is for action, and the floor is yours, Mr. Wexler.
Well, E-rate is a federal program run by the FTC that provides school districts with internet service and to fund school districts for their internet service. So our current E-rate discount level is 90%. So E-rate pays 90% of the cost. The district currently has a 1 gigabit internet bandwidth from Spectrum and 1 gigabit wide area network from Spectrum. We submitted an E-rate RFP. We received 2 bids. And our recommendation is to go with the bid from Spectrum, which is currently our internet service provider, and to upgrade our internet bandwidth from 1 gigabit per second to 10 gigabits per second. The cost is virtually the same as what we're currently paying for 1 gigabit. They gave us, we got, for whatever reason, the cost did not go up to upgrade from 1 gigabit to 10 gigabits. And Spectrum we're very happy with Spectrum. They're very reliable. We can call them if there was an outage a month ago due to the winds. We called them, they resolved the outage that evening, and internet was back up for the start of school. That happens approximately once a year. Internet is very reliable from Spectrum. So it would be a simple project. We would just have to, and we would work with Spectrum. We'd have to upgrade our routers from 1 gigabit to 10 gigabit. So yes, our recommendation is to choose Spectrum as our internet service provider and the provider of our wide area network, and to upgrade from 1 gigabit to 10 gigabits.
When's that upgrade going to take place? How long is it going to take to get to 10?
We'll have it in place for the start of the next school year. It should be in place in July. And it should be, all of the fiber optics are in place. Spectrum will upgrade our routers, and then we have another upgrade through an E-rate RFP that we'll look at in a few weeks. We submitted the RFP from board approval a few weeks ago, where we'll upgrade our core switches, our access points, our firewall, and those will all be upgraded to 10 gigabit speed. So we'll see a dramatic increase in internet speeds on the student and teacher devices.
All the schools got the new fiber for it?
I'm sorry?
All the schools got the new fiber cables for it?
Yeah, the cables the fiber optics provided by Spectrum will support 10 gigabits. They won't have to replace any fiber optics.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
All right, these are two separate action items, so is there any more questions on the first one, approving the E-rate contract? Mr. Moore?
I was reading through it over the weekend, and I didn't really find a thing, and I just looked one more time. Didn't really find anything like saying, like our price will never go up, right? Or if it does, it's not gonna go up drastically.
No, that contract, that's a 3-year contract with an option to renew for 2 additional years, and the price will not go up.
Okay, so on item A, any more questions? And that's just the piece of approving the E-rate contract to Spectrum. All right, can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
So, Mr. Gutierrez, second. Bender, all those in favor? Aye, 4, and 1 absent. Now for item B, now we're talking about the bandwidth selection of 10 gigabits per second for internet. Mr. Wex already covered that. The E-rate costs 90% of the cost of internet. Any questions on that piece, item B?
I think it's a good deal, so I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, Mr. Gutierrez, motion.
Can I have one question? What's E-rate?
It is a federal program that provides discounted internet and networking services to school districts through the FTC.
Thank you. I approve. I second.
Second, Bender. All those in favor?
Aye.
1 absent. Item 10, personnel items. Approve the following list of personnel items. This is for action. Mrs. Gaines, you have the floor.
Yes, as you can see, we have just 2 employees on the personnel items this evening. One is a new hire, and the other one is an employee who resigned.
Motion to accept the personal written.
Okay, Mr. Gutierrez, second by Moore. All those in favor?
Aye.
1 absent. Item 11, everybody's favorite.
Make a motion to adjourn at 8 o'clock? Or no, that's not 8, I can't see. 7:50.
Mr. Moore, that's 7:49. We need a second.
A second.
Mr. Bender, all those in favor?
Aye.
7:49. Thank you.